Have you ever been in that meeting? You know the one, where everyone has a different sales number and they all came from the same SAP system? It's a massive headache, right? Well, today, we're giving you this survival guide to find the one number that actually matters.
So somebody asks you for the monthly sales number. It should be a simple request, but suddenly, you're staring at a total mystery. You've got one system, 3 different reports, and 3 completely different answers. How on earth is that even possible?
So, you pull a live number from a Fiori app, and it shows 1.2 million. The SAC dashboard that refreshed this morning, that one says 1.1 million. And then the official report from finance, a nice, clean 1.0 million. They all kind of seem plausible, but you can only base your decisions on one of them. So, which one is the truth?
Okay, let's start digging. To solve this mystery, we need to stop looking at the big picture totals and start following the money trail. And you know what? That trail always begins at the most granular level you can find.
So what's the single biggest mistake? The one thing that leads to all these confusing reports? Where does the logic in so many of these queries just take a completely wrong turn right from the start?
The mistake is trusting the summary. That's it. See, reports built at the sales order header level, that big top-line number, are almost always wrong for any kind of serious financial analysis. And why is that? Because that number is just a summary. It doesn't know about all the changes, the rejections, and the partial shipments that happen to the individual items below.
Because the real story, the financial story, is always written in the details. Things like specific pricing, partial deliveries, separate billing documents, and even rejections. All of that stuff happens at the individual item level. If your report is ignoring that, it's basically missing the entire plot.
And this brings us to our first and, honestly, our most powerful rule of SAP data investigation. It's so simple. Financial accuracy always lives at the item level. If you don't remember anything else, please remember that.
And here's a perfect example of the problem. A sales order header might say complete, but that could be a total lie. An item buried underneath could still be open, or maybe it was even rejected. The only place to find the real status is by looking at each and every item. This leads to another really key distinction. You have to understand what these different documents actually mean. A delivery document? That just proves that goods were physically moved. A box went from the warehouse to a truck. But the billing document? Oh, that's the legal and financial transaction. That's the one that posts to finance and actually becomes recognized revenue.
Okay, now we get to the next layer of complexity. It's not just about what's inside a single report, but why different systems, like your live Fiori app and your SAC dashboard, are telling completely different stories.
Now, this might sound like a riddle, but it's the absolute key to understanding analytics. 2 systems can show different numbers, and they can both be technically correct based on their own rules and their own timing. The problem isn't a calculation error, it's a context error.
And this timeline shows the most common reason why: data refresh lag. A transaction happens live in your core system at 9 a.m., but the data extract for your analytics warehouse? That doesn't even run until 2 a.m. the next day, and then your dashboard refreshes at 8 a.m. For almost 24 hours, your live system and your analytics system are guaranteed to be out of sync.
Here's another hidden trap. Are you reporting on the order date or the billing date? Because I'm telling you, they tell 2 very different stories. The order date shows business intent. It's when the customer said they wanted something. But the billing date, that shows financial realization, when the value was actually recognized by the business. Mixing these 2 in a single report is just a recipe for disaster.
So when you're in that meeting and the spreadsheets come out and the numbers just don't match up, what is the single most effective question you can ask to just cut right through all the noise?
This, right here. Before anyone starts diving into document numbers or some complex logic, just ask this one simple question. Which system and which refresh time are we comparing? I promise you, that alone will solve most of your disagreements, because it immediately shows you're not even looking at the same snapshot of data.
All right, let's bring it all home. We found the clues. Now it's time to crack the case. Because the solution isn't just about better data. It's about creating a much better dialogue between the different teams.
This is the unbreakable rule. The single point of truth that connects the world of sales and distribution with the world of finance is the billing document. Period. It's not the sales order, it's not the delivery. Any report that claims to reconcile revenue has to be anchored to those billing documents.
So how do you reconcile safely? Easy. You follow these 4 steps. First, you fix the scope.
Agree on the exact documents you're going to compare. Second, fix the time. Align on the exact date range. Third, fix the organization. Make sure you're using the same company codes. And finally, the golden rule: compare at the item level, never, ever at the total.
And when you're explaining these differences, this is the perfect language to use. It's precise, it's non-confrontational, and most importantly, it's correct. Operational sales and recognized revenue follow different timing rules. See? This frames the discussion as a process difference, not as someone making an error.
And that leaves us with your reconciliation toolkit. Think of it as 5 simple questions that will solve most discrepancies you'll ever see. Are we talking sales or finance, orders or invoices? Which date are we actually using? Are we including adjustments like credit memos? And finally, did we make sure to exclude things like rejected items?
Which brings us to the final, and I think the most important question. The next time you're deep in the data, just ask yourself this. Because getting the numbers to match is never just a technical exercise. It's about creating a single source of truth that everyone can actually stand behind. Ultimately, it's about building trust.